Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Espenscheid, and this is the Art of Life podcast. And today we're with my friend Erica, who is, among many other things, the owner of Harmony Home Medical. And Erica makes living better longer. So that's called health span for a better lifespan. Would you tell me a bit, like paint a picture for us of what your business is about and what your mission is?
Yeah, improving the quality of life with these longer lives that we're living. So my primary business is providing medical equipment and home modifications to help people be comfortable and safe at home. So it was really catering to our seniors and our elders and helping them have optimal outcomes so they don't fall, so they don't get pressure sores, and keeping them well. Now we're also adding in some health practices that incorporate a little bit more wellness, like supplementation, hyperbaric, ozone, red light.
The hardware and the software.
That piece is coming into the business. But our everyday is 2 retail locations of really providing the things that Medicare doesn't cover, the nicer beds, the nicer chairs, the cushions that keep them comfortable and safe, and things that if people don't talk to us or an expert in the field, they don't even know they exist because they're not generally covered by insurance, and they can make all the difference in the world for your loved one and for you if you're the caregiver. A lot of us are starting to have aging parents, maybe still caring for kids at home. It's stressful. So we try to make all of that easier on the person who's providing care.
Okay. So how did this become your passion? What got you into
what I do now?
What you do now?
I grew up working in a medical equipment store. My mom had a medical equipment store growing up that was insurance based. So it catered to Medicare, wasn't retail, didn't really have product to show people. And I went to college. I never wanted to do medical equipment again. Because all I did was clean wheelchairs and deliver them. And so I went to UCSD here, and I was just graduated. I was going into financial planning. My mom calls me with this crisis in her business, and she's had a huge embezzlement. She's got to let everybody go. She needs my help to come back and save the business. So I go back home, and she brings me into all of these roles that I never got to do before: measuring for custom wheelchairs, measuring for overhead ceiling lifts, designing accessible bathrooms. And I said, why don't you show the people this? Like, why don't you have a store? And she says, oh, because Medicare doesn't pay for this. This was being paid for by a regional center. It's a third-party payer for developmentally disabled kids. And she did this great work for them. And I said, Mom, I think you're wrong. I think like people want to see this. They want to know. I didn't even know, even living and growing up in this business, that it went this far, that you could do so many amazing things. And she said, no, I don't think so. I said, I think you might be wrong there. So I came down to San Diego, and we started at the Del Mar Fair, and we just did a booth with all of the nicest, latest, and greatest powered mobility and furniture. And it went amazing. And then a little shop, and a little bit bigger shop, and a bigger shop. And then now we have 2 4,500 square foot retail showrooms, and we do home assessments and all of the things. And people want it. Even though insurance doesn't pay, it shouldn't determine what people have access to.
It's like a quality of life. Yeah, one of the things, just for everybody, that they should know about Erica is that you're like, it impresses me so much, your thirst for knowledge and your motivation. And so that's a lot of what this podcast is about, right? What methods and what practices really that might inspire your work are also working for your health span. They're also working for across the board at home. So what would you say, because I view you and perceive you as incredibly motivated, like that, for instance, your mom had not thought of that before. How do you get your inspiration? And then how do you keep motivation in order to, like, day after day come up with these new ways of thinking about things and be innovative and bring in new technologies? It's a long question.
Yeah. Thinking back to the very beginning, when I had this just insatiable energy to keep going, even when things went slow, is a deep faith in what you're doing. So a lot of times faith has been a driver, and just, I know this will work. But you roadblock, and things are not going as planned, and you have to try another way. That is the life of an entrepreneur. And you have to really have conviction for what you're doing to be able to get up and do it again when this way didn't work out, this employee did this, marketing attempt failed. So you have to have that to keep that I think it's really important to have self-care principles, mindset principles, and an internal drive for knowledge. It's what makes life interesting, and it's what makes my work interesting. So I educate myself in my field. So going to conferences, reading books, I educate myself in just the awesomeness of human potential and the things that we can be up to and are more and more. And then I try to do that with myself in my life to give myself the energy. The beginning of my day is so crucial to me, to give myself the energy to do all the things despite any roadblocks, and the victories and the fun stuff, of course, give you the juice and make it exciting, and the big wins. But man, there's a lot of days that have downfalls, and have to see the big picture vision and
So
just keep
you
going.
never, yeah, it's never a matter of, oh, I'm going to quit this.
No.
It's like you're just figuring it out.
Yeah, I'm
It's
just
another
gonna
thing
go
to
a
do.
different path. It
Yeah.
has taken a lot longer than I want. We want everything today. I want to
Right.
hit my sales goals and my location goals, but I've stuck with it. I've had the business for 16 years now,
Amazing.
and it's become an amazing thing that runs on its own and that has still so much in front of it. But it wasn't this shot that I wanted. I was like, yes, we're going to go in 2 years and 2 million and 4 million. These numbers,
Right.
it's not that way. So many things came up along the way that kind of pulled the rug out. But it was my clients, it was my employees, and my belief in what we're doing that made me say, okay, there's a different path.
Right.
There's another path. Yeah, and in collaboration. Like I've had great team players. When I started, it was just me and one person, but so it made me do all the roles too. I've delivered wheelchairs. I deliver hospital beds by myself. I've been in every aspect of my business, really with the people, the clients we serve, and that helped me have that heart for the mission too.
So you mentioned your morning ritual or routine.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that too. So would you share what comprises your morning ritual, and then also how you feel that benefits your day and sets you up?
Yeah. My morning ritual saved me. I don't
Yeah.
think I would have gotten as far as I've gotten without it. I learned about how to have a great morning ritual originally from Hal Elrod in The Miracle Morning.
Okay.
That book, I read it, and I was on my treadmill
How
one
old
morning.
were you then?
The years go by so fast. It was before the kids. It was probably 12 years ago, something around then. And the podcast, so I read the book. My girlfriend Mallory gave it to me. She had just become a realtor, and she had got it from Keller Williams because they have this great like training and personal development body of work at Keller Williams.
Okay.
And she had given it to me. And then this podcast, they were coming to San Diego, and I was like, oh, it's too serendipitous. I have to go.
Yeah.
And so I went, and it plugged me into my first ever personal development event.
Okay.
And the energy in the room and the people who are on similar paths. And I was like, to do this.
Yeah.
This is it. And I stayed in that pot of people for 4 or 5 years. They were really great. And so the principle of it is the savers. It's silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. So that's a lot. And you can do little pieces of each, or I've created it into my own now. But the silence and affirmations, even before my feet hit the ground, is huge. And then I go into
So like with your first thoughts when you're just coming out of sleep.
Yes. And then I go into my meditation station, I call it. And it's a little space I've made in my closet, and it's just mine, and people don't walk on it. And it has my crystals and my things that are important. And I have learned these different meditation practices by continuing my education with different teachers. So I found a meditation teacher, I listened to Joe Dispenza, and I just take bits and pieces of the things that I learn and I apply what lands for me and what works for me. So I spend probably about 20 minutes or so in meditation, and then anything that comes in, I'll note down. And if not a lot comes in, then I just start thinking about my day and all the things I have to do, and I prioritize the most important things that I want to get done. And it's only going to be like 3 or 5 things that I really try to accomplish in that day. And then I always read or look at a picture I've drawn of my big picture vision.
Okay. So you're thinking ahead, but pretty much just the day. And I think that some of my questions are next, how you pick your priorities. It sounds like through meditation and that silence and stillness, that's when you know, okay, this is actually what I need to do today. And then you review the over scoping picture, and that's a visual you made.
Yeah.
So it's reminding yourself of both. These are my next steps, and then this is why.
Yeah. And in my meditation, a lot of times it'll be trying to get into visual states of my life I've created, of the goals I have and of the outcomes.
Okay.
And then coming out of meditation, getting into the nitty gritty, trying to see what's important to get done that day. And done in the earlier part of the day, done by one is this new tagline of the year. I learned it from Brendan Burchard.
Okay.
But it is really profound to try
Done
to knock
by
them out.
one as in a person or 1 p.m.?
Both. And write out the number one so it can be both. Done by one.
So that you're working smarter instead of longer.
And in a time period where I'm most activated. It gets a little mushier and more tired and stuff as the day goes
It's good
on.
for other things. Yeah, not your juicy work.
Yeah, and I really had been applying, this is newer, about getting the really important things that frontline time priority. I would do them and make sure they got done. But that could be me on the computer at 9 or 10 p.m. because all the other things got in the way. So it would never stop me from doing it, but how hard am I going to work myself to death to get it done?
Yeah.
If I prioritize better and if I'm clear about the path, then it's not so hard. It's more ease and grace and getting it done.
So if it's a priority, it happens first.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to really learn and do consistently this year, is bring the priorities that really move the needle in my business to the front of my day and in the front of my attention, instead of letting everybody else and everything come in when I come into the office, because it's very easy to let that happen.
And then how do you apply that to the rest of your life? Because you also have kids and you got home.
And my morning. So my morning, the silence and the lining it up, but then it really all comes together with my workout. And I never miss movement. If I am like too tired to do my running, I'll do yoga. But I have then a really full-blown vision board in front of my treadmill, and I kick my butt for 30 minutes every day. Okay. And I love it. It's a new addiction. It's not new now, but at the time I had to like work into it 12 years ago when I was trying to build this habit. At first it was difficult. So if people aren't used to doing the exercise and doing the work, it might feel tough at first, but I promise you, if you stick with it and you get 6 weeks under your belt, you won't look back. And then it's just part of your life. And that piece, it takes all of my thoughts and my feelings and it like drives it into my body. Okay. Because I'm keeping that in my emotions when I run, and I smile and look at my statements and I listen to elevating music and I'm running towards it. Yeah, there's all these kind of combining of my mind, body, soul, energy towards those same things.
And would you say that if you do something hard, if you do these several hard things in the morning, it does set the tone for the rest of the day? Like you have that momentum?
Yeah. And you can't have a bad day after that. Yeah. Like even if you did have a day that kind of flopped on its face, at least you did you in the morning. At least you put in the you time and you had that space to work on yourself, even if the business didn't go that far that day, or you had a bad parenting day, whatever it may be. It feels like there was a success in that. And so before you ever really get out the door, you have a big win. Yeah,
you already won the day.
Yeah.
That could be another one.
Yeah.
So you could spell it two different ways and then the number one.
One by one.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. That's very cool. Let me refer to my little book here. How did you start your business? What keeps you motivated? Okay. So I like to dig into, and we don't have to get into what the challenges are because oftentimes that's really vulnerable. But I know I have learned maybe the most as of what I've done because of challenges. So it could be personal, it could be work-related challenges, but how has like challenge helped you be resilient, or how have you grown from that?
Yeah, there's been a couple work-related ones that made me super resilient, but it also made me dig my heels in and be like, I want to stand on my own without the shit. So let me explain a little bit. When we first started the business, we took insurance. We took Medicare, Medicaid. Through the years, laws have changed and Medicaid went to all HMOs. So overnight, I lost 30% of my business because I didn't have any HMO contracts. And I weathered it and built back up with Medicare, and I stayed the course. But then 2 years later, Medicare did competitive bid where we all had to bid silently against each other, and the winners got to deliver the services, and we weren't a winner. all those winners are now out of business because the
I was
rates were
going to say
so
maybe the
low.
services were not
It
the
was,
same either.
they were just, the rates were so low, they're unsustainable. But so then again, I lost about 35% of revenue overnight. Those two things happened, and I was like, I'm not going to do this business unless I can do it in a cash pay way. And I'm not going to do anything in my business where I rely solely on one big client, one big payer source, one key employee. I'm never going to hinge on something that can just pull the rug out from underneath me.
It's just too volatile. Yeah.
It was. And that those things happening twice, and I had to lay everybody off, and it was so difficult that I wanted to rebuild and grow something that had roots like a tree, like so many different points of sustainability, that there wasn't just one single thing that could take you out. So that was a really big learning lesson, and it made me just look at every time there's a problem that takes the wind out of me a little bit, how can I grow back stronger? And I try to be that way in my personal life, and if my parenting, my food, my body, same thing. So when I had setbacks that were health wise, it wasn't anything like sickness, but just behaviors that I don't want anymore, feeling ways I don't want to feel anymore. Looking at those things and eliminating them out of my life. But it's not easy, and it's been a challenge, like alcohol, for example. Just going back and having so many things going well and just being a rock star, and that can just take the wind out of you and make you feel awful and set you back. And being how I am, I don't want to lose a day. 2 days. It's devastating. It's beautiful outside. My kids want to play.
The reward just isn't, it's not worth it.
It's just not worth it. Just looking at different ways to have fun and spread and grow. Again, like a tree, like many different outlets, many different ways, not one thing that's going to just take it out of you.
So just perceiving things as, okay, that's a weakness that I didn't know was there. Now that I know, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So diversifying.
Very
cool.
Good for financial planning too. Maybe that's my own financial planning coming into life.
And yeah, exactly. And I think I grew up on a ranch. Same thing. You have to be diverse. COVID showed us that, right? Like, there were things I thought were bulletproof. Nope, you need even more, like you said, roots or different things that we're putting down for stability. So that
COVID showed us that so much. Things that you thought just would never go away or would always be a great business. And right now we're budding on the forefront of AI, and what is that going to look like for business and what works? And we just have to be resilient. We have to be crafty and smart and attuned. I don't watch the news or stay super in touch with culture like that. Staying in touch with things that are coming out in science and technology and marketing and communication. And you have to be in the world a bit to be able to be ahead of the curve and use things that are beneficial to you.
Yeah.
Beneficial to all of us when used appropriately.
Well, and it served you well because by embracing whatever technology is coming out, there are a lot of things that can help in business. And also, maybe this is a good segue into all the different like health practices that require effort. And there's also technologies, and you've taken a deep dive into a lot of this, which is really exciting. So what are some of your, it seems to me, my perspective of you is you take the things that require work and effort and discipline and technology. Yeah. So the latest, Erica showed me this morning, share with them the headphones, the headset.
Oh, my favorite new tool of this year. So yes, so I have been diving into the longevity side of what I'd like to bring into my business, just supporting in aging, but maybe improving in aging. And so over the last couple of years, I have gotten all sorts of things. And my favorite tool from this last convention is BrainTap. And BrainTap are these headphones, and we can get them. They're on the counter.
They're going to magically appear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other things I can video later and show, but these are, and BrainTap is not a paid sponsor of this show.
No, not yet.
It should be.
But these are BrainTap. So they're headphones that have these lighted eyes here, and it goes together with an app that puts binaural beats in different patterns depending on what our outcome is that we're going for, whether we're trying to activate our brain, relax our brain, sleep, or program healthy habits into our brain. And so the light will also go at a different pace, and it will match the brainwave that it's trying to have you create through the beats. So the first time I put these on, I felt instantly in state, and I've practiced meditation for a long time and have gotten pretty good at relaxing down, but it takes extreme focus and a little bit of time. It takes me a few minutes and breath, and I put these on and I was like, oh,
You're already there.
I'm here.
Oh, I love efficiency. I love it.
It was so good. And so this company, it started as a health company. Patrick Porter is the doctor's name, has all of these programs that help with motivation, healthy habits. It's a lot around health, success, creating your vision. Yeah. And then it just has the plane where it's just the binaural beats for either the AM or the PM, and the light and your thoughts and your meditation and your state. And I love all of them.
It's really nice that I love stacking different methods. So you're doing more things at the same time.
Yeah.
And this handles a lot of that.
And I will do that with the amp coil on. But I have them, my mom has them, and my husband has been doing them. All three of us have had announced to us side effects, things we weren't going for.
Oh yeah, tell them about your nails.
I quit biting my nails. I have been a nail biter my entire life, and I just looked down a month ago and I was like, holy moly, I have fingernails. When did that start happening?
Yeah, and because that a lot of times is an anxious habit.
Yes.
It's a deeply ingrained habit if you've been doing it forever.
Forever. My mom bites her nails, and I did ever since I was a little girl. Yeah. My daughter does. I hope that she'll watch me now and be able to do these. It's such a deep state of relaxation that it gets you into, that it is its own outlet in that. And then my mom quit drinking wine to go to sleep. She told me she didn't want to tell me, for 16 bottles of wine a month to go to bed. And this is helping her just go into sleep with more ease. And then my husband doesn't wake up at night to go to the bathroom. So that's always, he might get up once. He was getting up like 2 times, maybe 3, like an annoying amount of time. He's done it only about 5 times, and he's not getting up to go to the bathroom at night anymore.
Amazing.
And all of us were doing it we were all doing it to get into a clear state and to work on our goals, maybe improve our eating habits. A lot of that was in there, but there's these other side effects that stress is causing on our bodies that we didn't know that we don't
even know are connected. And those things are resolving.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Erica, today we went into the infrared sauna, which I'm a huge fan of, and then the ozone sauna.
Yeah.
So tell me about that again.
The infrared sauna, if you get an infrared sauna 2 to 4 days, really they say it's supposed to be 3 to 5 days in studies to have it actually be a reducer of all-cause mortality. So it is a lot. It's more convenient to have it at your home. Yeah. So I love getting in there, and it is a I forget the percentages, something like 20% reduction in all-cause mortality if you can sauna 3 days or more a week. And so the infrared sauna, I like it because it's a little bit quicker and it's a little bit lower on the temperatures, but just as effective. So you can be down.
It's penetrating into our bodies.
Yeah. Penetrating into our bodies, so you'll get the same effects of that 170, 160 temperature of a steam sauna. And then topping it with ozone, so you get opened up in there and then go into the ozone sauna. You can do it more briefly because that one doesn't get as hot. Your pores are super open, and then ozone is a rogue. It's 3 oxygen molecules instead of H2O, and all the O2s bind together. The third one is very unstable, and so it will look for other molecules that it can attach itself to and kill and pull out of the body.
Okay.
Because we know oxygen, high oxidation, all that, it sanitizes things. So it's like going into your pores and sanitizing just under your epidermis and pulling out toxins. It can pull out heavy metals. It can pull out food toxins, things that are lingering in our body that just get stuck. And we have different ways of detoxifying through our lymph system, our breath, urine, sweat, and so our skin is a huge one. So it just amplifies that. It gives it superpower versus just sweating.
Very cool.
So those have been my favorite ones. Those are my most practiced ones. Okay. And then the amp coil is the subtle, it's a sound frequency machine.
And that I think we should do with everyone at the end of that would be a fun thing to do, and you could explain.
Okay.
Because that's something that I have not done.
Okay.
I am excited about that. Okay, so we've gone over the practices that nourish your body, mind, and spirit. I so I have a question. I always like to understand what helps you navigate your decisions. And we may have covered that with the meditation. It's really about just tapping into your stillness and then trusting yourself.
Trusting yourself. I do weigh the pros and cons and try to be logical about a decision when I get in front of it. And then, of course, the stillness helps me be clearer on as to those pros and cons. I have gotten so stuck in decisions. It was just like, do we move? Do we not move? The business, and just different ones where I'll get out my pendulum or my yes no coin and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to hire this guy. Pendulum says yes.
Something has to make the decision.
There can be really tough ones. If it was something huge, moving the house, I don't know if I wouldn't have it just land on yes or no coin. It would be weighed. But I've been there where I've meditated on it, I've slept on it, I pros and conned it. So those are always my first line of defense. Is just, do I feel an instant yes or no? Is it clear in my body? And if it is, easy breezy, great. If it's not, okay, now I need to really think through, this is a good, this is the bad of it. Are there more pros than cons? How do I feel? Let's go back to the body. Okay, we've got a yes. Okay, we've got a no. So that usually is how I make my decisions. Yeah. There are times when it's still, I'm stuck, and it's hiring decisions, it's purchasing certain services decisions, where I will take it to the pendulum, and then I'll take that answer and I'll do it. And it usually works out, actually.
And I think you trust yourself. I'm sensing you trust yourself enough at this point that, what's the saying? Instead of trying to make the right decision, make the decision.
Yeah.
You're going to rock it either way.
Make it. And yep. And that whole getting up and try another pathway, like, I've got to make a choice. So let's make one, and hopefully it's the right one. If it's not, well, roll it back. Do it again.
Yeah. We'll never know, right?
Like, never know if we don't do. We don't want to be stuck in indecision. Yeah. No,
so I'm always impressed, like, with your, I call it like the rapid turnaround. There are some people that talk about an idea literally for their whole life and don't make one step forward. And you tend to, like, we'll talk, and the idea that we ask the other one, hey, what are you thinking next? We'll share that idea. And the next time we get together, we're doing it.
Yeah.
So it's often we overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in 5. So two-part question. How do you gain that initial momentum? Do you just, like, you have your goal and then you get excited about it? Okay.
Excited about stuff. I love ideas. I love fresh starts. That's definitely my best role in the business, is getting myself out of the nitty-gritty and being in the visionary seat.
That's your zone of genius.
It's my zone of genius. I like coming up with ideas, taking action, taking the risk and the jump. I'm really comfortable with that. So I like that.
And then you have good people that can do the detail stuff.
Yeah, and so that's where I fall down. I'll start a lot of things, and I might not have the whole thing planned out. Hence my first rendition of the Longevity Lab.
Yeah.
I just went for it.
It's a great idea, just not at that place.
Not at that place. I go for it, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It almost always works out in a different way than originally planned in some regard. But I do like to take action on stuff and do things and feel like there's momentum in the world, and make it happen.
Yeah. So if you underestimate what you do in 5 years, that's how the saying goes. And I think typically we do. Tell us about your design, your dream for 5 years from now. How does it feel? What does it look like?
Yeah. I have a little bit of indecision around the path for it with my business, but I have been working on a dream as far as how I can live my life and financial freedom and the people that are around me. That's been my dream for the last about 8 years, like right around after Jagan was born, because we decided to put him in Spanish immersion school when he entered school. It was right around that time. So maybe it was like 6 years, because he's in 5th grade, to really get the business to a place of autonomy and get financially to a place where we could have more choices and choose. And again, all these different roadblocks, the things that change with the business, the no insurance is that, but now I'm here, and I have 2 stores that work without me. And I've worked my tail off and gotten to a place where that vision is possible. And my prior vision was to, in the next 4 years, double the revenue of my store. I have a kind of a two-pronged approach in how we're going to do that. And then to sell my business and completely exit and go into something else around, completely unrelated, working for another company that works in sustainability, like a plastics alternatives company, or somebody I meet at Lightning in a Bottle. I've already met one company that I would want to work for.
Okay.
That's one idea, but I keep getting pulled back and forth. And so I'm not 100% clear on if I want to stay in my business or not, because of my people. They keep calling to me like, God, I should stay and grow them and get my company to a level where I can do something called an ESOP. And an ESOP is where you sell your business to your employees. But you have to hit that 10 million mark.
Yeah.
And we're not even halfway there. We're approaching halfway there. Like it's a long ways to go, which means I would have to work in that business longer. And there's days when I'm like, I love you people, we're doing it.
Yeah.
And there's days when I'm like, I can't work this much. I gotta go.
Yeah.
It goes back and forth. So I'm trying to feel into with this year of travel we're doing, and I will be out of my business 100% for a year. If that second dream could actually exist with my new reduced work schedule. Could I do that dream by creating leaders and building into them the ability to build it? Or do we have a bunch of stumbling blocks and it's really hard to find someone with the same passion you have who isn't an owner yet? I think that this year, and as our listeners probably don't know, I will be leaving my business to work remotely for 12 months. I think that it'll help paint the picture a lot.
Sure. It'll be a great, very practical test.
Yes.
Like training wheels.
Yes. And it'll help me get clear on, now, do I package the business, which that year away from the business will actually make my business more valuable because it's been shown that it can run without the operator. So then I would package it to sell it, which I have been educating myself, preparing. I have an M&A firm. So doing all the things, stay smart about it, just like everything else we do. Try to just learn a little bit about it, caught with pants down.
You never have blinders on. You're always uncovering and figuring things out. It's a really beautiful hunger. It's like a hunger. Let's uncover that. I don't know about that yet. Or if I wanted to do this, how can I make sure that this is going to happen?
Yeah, how would it look?
Yeah.
And then I learned about the ESOP through Tony Robbins' event and all of that community. And it sounds like such a beautiful way to live into the sunset and leave people you love with an asset.
And it's immortality too. Not that immortality, like we ourselves perhaps don't need to live forever. Maybe our soul does. And all your work, these years and years of work, can keep living on to your employees and a population that's only going to grow. The aging population is only going to grow. So.
Yeah. So having Harmony go on to something that just keeps it growing, and it was definitely part of it. And I so see it. Like, I've watched my competitors come and go. My biggest one closes doors April 1st. It's been a crazy time to live through all of these insurance changes and COVID and now AI. But that's why I stay motivated and I stay excited. And I think that we have a great model, be it me or somebody else at the helm. And so really setting that to sail and being completely financially secure for myself and my children. I do want and believe that I'll be able to financially secure my children's through the end of their lives financially if they were to need it. It would be there if they needed it. I want them to find their own way too.
Just don't tell them.
Yeah, I want that to be something I could do if I wanted to.
Amazing.
And then I would like to get back to
that's going to be your comfort. I know you and I have both done some Tony Robbins events, and I find great value in this stuff. And I have a separate question about mentors in your life, but that the ratio of certainty to uncertainty is different for different people. And you are looking for long-term certainty. And I'm noticing your short-term uncertainty is also very high. Yeah. Which is really interesting. Insightful. Yeah. It's cool. It's like this. Yeah. We want this stability for them, of course, and for all the what ifs in life. And I wonder if that's opposite for most people, because it seems, I'm not sure, but I think it's really healthy because you're taking risks now when it's more comfortable to be uncertain so that your long-term certainty.
That is exactly how I look at it and feel about it. And it is the opposite of what most people's comfort zone is. Most people prefer the certainty, the paycheck, the knowing what is coming. Things may happen in work that would change, like a pay date, a day off, a policy that we set. And I love my people, and they're like cool people, but you would be amazed, like little things with
It's
that
just way too much.
it take off certainty, like instant panic, and everyone's talking, and it's chill out.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I think a lot of people aren't programmed that way. They do the certainty. I'm comfortable, especially at this stage, with so many renditions of the business and like having kids and everything else. It's just a lot of uncertainty. You got to
trust yourself. Just have that deep down, like, whatever comes up, I got it.
And faith.
Yeah.
And faith that the universe is working in your favor. Things are going to work out, and there's going to be this little stretch of pain if that comes up, but on the other side, it's going to work out and even better. You just don't quite see it yet. Yeah, being uncertain is definitely necessary. Part of the plan to get to a place where financially certain, and for me, like in the end of my life, to feel comfortable and at peace that I can take care of those that I love. And that will probably extend beyond my children to my people, my employees, my friends, my extended family.
Glad I'm on your circle.
We do for each other.
Yeah.
We really do. So that, and then my 5-year, besides the financial and the business and the growth, is to bring back the layers of balance with travel and relationship time, and then maybe building into some new hobbies again. A little funny story about that. I already know what it is. I already bought all the tools. I just don't have time to do it yet.
Yeah.
Wood shop.
Tell me about that. Yeah, because I know you're getting into because you're very creative in your business, like creative in the ways that you problem solve, creative in the ways you think of things and embrace technology. And it's nice to have balance too, right? Doing something that you just enjoy.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a product, something cool. So how are you balancing that now? Are you getting enough creative time, or are you just lit up enough?
No, just through work. Just through work. There's so many things to create inside of work. And I don't spend a ton of time on our content creation. That sort of, sometimes we're filming like for a week in April and doing that piece. But creating in the business is more about like creating the workflow processes, creating the product outcome, creating the training to help people have my skill set for custom chairs. In the past, creating the custom chair that fit that that person perfectly in their bathroom outcome for people.
Yeah.
So that was a creative outlet.
I'm so relieved that I think you deeply understand your creative intrinsic nature, that it's all creative. There's that misconception that someone has to be a musician, right? Or a painter to be creative.
Yes. I felt like that for a long time.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're embracing this, because once you give yourself credit for all you're creating, your unconscious is, that's me.
Yeah.
It's a superpower.
I attribute that to conversations with you. So conversations with you, conversations with our other friends who are creators, painting and art, to understand how else do we create? How else am I creative? Because I am, but I do yearn some making. I had taken some woodworking classes and loved it. And so when I back off of work so much, I do have hobbies and things I'd like to cultivate a little bit and explore other areas.
Yeah.
But work's not fulfilling for the creative aspect. I think I'd like to just do ones that are maybe a little more leisurely.
Yeah. And maybe just totally off topic.
Yeah. Completely not for anything, but just being.
Yeah. It's dexterous and it's it's just different.
Yeah.
Power tools are fun.
And I love the smell of wood shavings.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Balance is amazing. Tell me about it sounds like working with your mom was a form of mentorship, and it was a big game changer. Yeah. Who else, or what other things have happened, or who has been a mentor? What are some of the things that have resonated with you and catapulted you forward?
Yeah, my mom was amazing. She was my mentor in the beginning of the business and through so many years of the business. And I learned from her mistakes too. The being interested in having a M&A firm and an exit strategy, all that is from learning from mistakes that she made and being early on interested in how I can improve that at the end of my business cycle. But all the way up from wheelchair making, which she was the master of her craft, in that she was one of the first in the States to be licensed for it. And she was excellent, to the actual business operations. She was a great mentor. And then I have had people who are referral partners. And I had one, and God rest her soul because she just passed. And we just went to her celebration of life the other weekend. She did everything her way, including her exit. She was amazing. She didn't know me that well, and she would just be like, "You go, girl. I love what you're doing. You're helping people." She was helping because she was a placement agent and just a wealth of knowledge for our industry. But she was a cheerleader for everybody she met.
Thinking positively and offering that out loud.
And yeah,
what a change that can actually make.
Yeah, feeling seen when you're just coming up in the biz and you're trying so hard. And I was 26 when I started my business. I was not taking that seriously. Female under 30 business owners, like not really a big hit at a networking event. Yeah, and she would be like, "Hell yeah, I see you. You are rocking this. The new store layout looks great." And my store was this big. Yeah. It was just an advocate for everyone that she felt was gonna do good, be on a mission, and she was really rad. So she was a great cheerleader. And then I found mentors in these personal development coaches, Hal Elrod and that team. Oh, what was his partner's name? Anyways, I personal coached with them for a while, so it got me into business coaching. And what is that? I didn't even know it was a thing. Just accountability partners, all of that was new to me. And once I got in that world, I've stayed in it in some regard every year. I've had
so surrounding yourself with people who are striving the way you are and keeping pace with you. Yeah. And you can inspire each other.
Yep. And we can do webinars together. I do one-on-one coaching at different times and stuff. And then I go to the events. So going to Tony events and really getting my cup full emotionally and then cognitively, like always learn something. And even if it's a redundant lesson, be it Tony's or Brenda Bouchard's or whoever, we're not always ready for it at the time. So it could be a repeat of something you heard before, but it just didn't land before. It wasn't what you needed at that time. And this is a different time. And so it does. So I've never done any of that kind of stuff and felt like, oh, this wasn't worth my time or money.
Yeah.
It's always
You're always blown away and fired up.
Yeah.
I do think it's amazing to be around like energy. It's so refreshing and invigorating, and those settings are just incredible.
And you have to seek it as a business owner. I think of all things like a mom, business owner is not every person on the block. So it's sometimes a lonely island, especially before I had anyone in the business that I trusted, that I co-created with. I've just crossed that line now. And so going to those events and having friends and peers that were doing their own businesses, doing their own creating, doing their own things is a place to just, find some alignment and I'm sane. I'm not crazy.
Not only that, but she's insane.
She's insane too.
I'm going in that direction. Yeah, it's nice because that energy levels us up.
Yeah.
And also it sounds like you're getting perspective that maybe you weren't ready for before. Or it seems to always be the perfect time when you
something that comes in and you'll, like, without a doubt, meet one person that you continue to stay in touch with that really helps you on your journey. Maybe you become accountability partners. I mean, they just give you some great resources and that's it. But it just comes in at the right when you put yourself in the environment.
And that comes back to the comment you made before about faith, and maybe I call it trust, but like you just have faith that it's going to work out, or that information is going to come through, or that your decision is correct.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, I love it. Let's see here. Oh, that's funny. I have a question here. What is your risk tolerance between certainty and uncertainty?
Yeah, it's
totally
high.
crushed that one. Yeah. Okay, tell me about, when do you feel most free and joyful?
Running trails. I love saying if you put in that 6 weeks of hard work, you'd get addicted to it. I love my runs. So I definitely feel free, even on my treadmill. I physically challenge myself the most on the treadmill because I can control the inclines and things.
All this, you're just
so I can really try to physically get there, which gets me like out of my head too. But trail running and being in nature, and then the ultimate is physically exerting it in nature on the dance floor with my friends.
I think the same thing is the essence of joy and freedom for us. Yeah, that's all the things, because you've got all the chemistry going on and all the things are taken care of, and you're removed from your day-to-day task oriented, and you're outside.
Yeah, outside is nature holds all of the secrets, right? And we are nature. And in my work, I get fairly disconnected from nature too. I do work in a building with nice fluorescent lights, but there's still LED lights up there. Yeah. We dim them and whatnot, but it's not outside all day. It's really liberating and important that I make time to get out and do a trail run a week, go on a weekend adventure, and get into the trees.
Yeah. It's really cool too that you are giving people their freedom, because movement is freedom. That's the most obvious form of freedom.
Yeah.
And so when people can't anymore, you're increasing their health or their mobility.
Yeah. I tried to build it into our core values or tagline, because when I would think about this in my business, I was like, oh my God, my personal values are our goals at work. Like, our core values are what we're living. It's just physically up-leveled way, because unfortunately my clients have limited mobility. Although my younger client, just because they're paraplegic, they're still in a physically up-leveled way, because some of them play sports. But yeah, mobility, it's the core of what we do and what we're trying to improve. And it is very much the core of what makes me happy and makes me feel liberated and full.
So I think right there, you're tapping into this conversation. Like, that is the point. That's probably why you have such motivation, is because it's absolutely in alignment with you and your spirit. Yeah. So if it's that freedom of movement and you're helping people have freedom of movement.
Yeah. It took me a long time to get that though. Yeah. I was in a hotel room in Palm Desert with Allison Maslin, another mentor, amazing business coach, a webinar, a weekend retreat with her. I'm like charting all these things, and I'm just trying to like very well. And it didn't really drop into me about how aligned it was and how much better we're making people's mobility in life through that event. And it was funny because Jason and a couple friends came in. I was trying to work on my tagline, and
Dude, I think I was talking with you during that. Didn't you gift me that?
Oh, her seminar?
I think we were doing it together remotely, because I remember Jason coming into.
Yes, I think so. I was so deep in it, that one. So many things landed, and that was one of the things that landed for me, which made me want to just tear up my existing tagline and change it. And so I did. But I was doing all these long-winded things, and Justin and Jason and Kia came in. They were going to a festival in the desert. Here I was business hacking in the desert. Right. And Justin and Kia both, Kia's a marketing director, Justin owns a business, and they're like, moving to create, like, what are you trying to do? It was so long. Yeah. And I told them, this is my business. I do. And Kia's, you help people die better. And I was like, I can't put die better. Die better. And they went out that night, and it was like all the hit of the fire was saying die better. And when they came back, and the next day I just landed on age better. It's simple. It fits inside my logo. And like from that point on, we just went with age better. And then CVS did it, aging better.
Big cats. Aging better also means aging gracefully and being healthy and extending your health span.
Yeah, it's just better. And before it was like improving mobility to age in place. Your neighborhood wheelchair mobility vendor. And it was just like, it's just, no.
I like it too, because your business, all of it is expanding. And so with age better, that can encompass your new things, which is all your really healthy protocols, so that you don't need the wheelchair as soon, or age in reverse.
Can be all of it.
It's all of it. Good move.
It worked out. It was so funny. But yes, definitely movement and maintaining mobility and creating independence for people is the core of what makes me happy, and it is the core of my business.
Yeah, and that's what you want.
It took a while for me to see that, surprisingly enough.
That's awesome. Actually. It's like your unconscious knew it.
Yeah.
And then consciously, finally, it came to mind. I love it.
For the longest time in the beginning of my business, I had imposter syndrome. And so I didn't know a lot, actually. I said yes to a lot of things that I had no idea how to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually how I got into remodeling bathrooms and installations and stuff, because I was like, oh yeah, I do that. And it'd be like, who can I call? Who can I call?
Yeah, exactly. I do that. I will know how to do
I will
that.
know how to do
Yeah.
that. But for the longest time, I was like, that's my mom's thing. It's not my thing. And so it took a while for the whole retail aging in place, learned by coming into our showrooms, for this model to come together that was purely mine. And then it
Make
finally
your
did.
own. Yeah. Yeah. Everything seems to be in like resonance, like authentic, and
Yeah.
it's probably why it's
Yeah.
sustainable,
Yeah.
because you just don't burn out.
Yes, and I can definitely see how people do, because it takes a lot. Before I had the babies, I'd be in there at 10 p.m. and I would have some music on, rearranging all the walls, like all pumped about the next day. Like, I had so much energy for it.
Yeah.
And now I come home and have that energy for my kids. But that comes back to self-care, have that energy and do those things. But it takes a lot to get a business off the ground.
Yeah. And your attention is gold. And like what we give our attention to, I think we're getting more and more selective. And on that note, I appreciate like just this whole 24 hours, because it is a lot for us to set aside time, and it's so important. So I appreciate that, and for talking with all of us and sharing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, so cool, girl.
Always the time.
Yeah.
My Jenny Bombs. Always.
Yeah. I'm glad we did this.